Hey everybody, it's Imani.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, it's another episode of Impact Podcast. We are glad to be back again with y'all. This is what, episode 4 now?
Yup, we almost halfway through, y'all.
Almost halfway through.
Season
glad.
2.
We're glad that y'all tuned in. She said she's Imani. I am. Well, who am I?
We don't know.
I don't know who I
I don't
am.
know.
I'm Christian. Thank you for tuning in. This is.
Darren.
And we're
Brother
happy.
Darren, Deacon
Brother Darren,
Darren.
Deacon Darren,
Anywhere
Driz, whatever you might call him. But I'm known simply as Christian. Yep. So let's get this episode going. And this is the season of prayer, but we can talk about a lot of different things because prayer is very broad. Prayer is very, it's a very broad topic to talk about. So with that being said, let's get on with this episode. We have an icebreaker question. Who's coming
I
up?
got
with
a little silly icebreaker question that
Okay.
Christian brought to my attention
Okay.
that he wanted me to ask you guys. And he says, if animals could pray, which one do you think would be the most devout or devout? However, you guys pronounce that. Can I answer it first?
Yeah.
A praying mantis.
Bruh, I was about to say that. The praying
I know.
mantis.
I'm
Why?
all up in here, man.
Why, man?
I'm all up in here.
Why? You have to explain it since you took the most basic one.
Nah, man, I'm gonna let you explain it, minister.
Man, you got it. I have a different animal. But I'm going to let Imani go first because I got to think about what animal
okay.
that is.
Oh man, the most devout. That's hard. I would say a This is probably unpopular. No. I would say the lioness. Yes, because they always protect. You know, I didn't even realize that, but they go out and get the food and everything.
Yeah.
So I think they would be devout if they had to have another responsibility.
And the lion, comes in and seals everything together.
You gotta stomp on my stuff.
See, look, I'm going to say this one. I'm going to say the elephant. Here's why.
Okay.
Elephants are super smart. They're wise. And they live a long time. So I feel like the wisdom, if they prayed, they'd be wise enough to know to pray to God. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I see.
So,
see what you did there.
I feel like elephants, they'd be just somewhere praying and stuff.
Elephants aren't in the Bible.
But
Lions are.
but I'm still saying, like, the
Is a
wisdom.
praying mantis in there?
They just saying that because they look like they're praying all the time. See? The elephant is what I'd go with. I could see an elephant
I'm
praying.
just messing with you. That's a good answer, guys.
And so our disciple or our prayer group would be a praying mantis, an elephant, and a lioness.
That'd be a wide range.
Gotta have
That'd
a
be,
lion there,
yeah. And
I don't know if lioness are allowed to pray.
They're not allowed to speak either.
No, I'm just playing, y'all. We're just be joking.
Oh, I'm cracking up.
yep.
What if she has a prayer cloth on?
Oh, yeah, that's better.
Yep. But anywho, y'all have any questions to start us off after our icebreaker question?
This is a question that came from our producer, Lincia.
Okay.
So, and y'all can think about it for a second. What's the most random prayer request you've ever asked God or you've ever received from someone that someone asked you to pray for?
I don't know if this one's like random or like what was the question? It's like
the most randomest or just out, like crazy random, out of the ordinary question.
okay, so I basically heard people say like, man, they didn't come to me about it. So, but they went to other people and they've came to me and told me it's like pray that somebody else will break up with somebody else so they can get the person that they're with. And it's like, oh man, how you gonna pray about that? Because that means you're praying to get somebody else to get what you want. You know what I mean?
They were like going for. They were.
Touch it and receive it.
Exactly. They like
Touch it and claim it.
They
Yeah.
like claim their territory. I'm like, they're literally with somebody else, but
That's
that's a
wild.
wild prayer.
That's
They're
wild.
married. You talking about
No,
that?
I promise you, it's probably some people out there that be like, I hope they get a divorce.
Oh man, plotting.
I know, I'm telling you, some crazy prayer requests out there.
That's pretty crazy. What about you?
I really can't think. I'm gonna let you go, and then I'll see what comes up.
Okay. I would say, like for a toy, like a child just praying, kind of not. That's not the most randomest, but just kind of praying for his toy instead of asking. You know how you ever heard a little kid pray?
Oh yeah.
they can pray for the
I
most
think I
wild
did
things.
that when I was little, man. I think I was like, Lord, please,
Let Santa Claus.
help me
Okay,
get an Xbox, like for my birthday.
Oh yeah. Xbox, man. You were praying for the wrong things. PlayStation.
No, I know. Trust me.
I'm saying the Xbox.
I was young. I was
you,
as a
you-
child.
You thought as a
He said I
child. You
was
speak
as
as
a
a
Now
child.
yeah. Now that I'm grown, I put away childish things.
Exactly.
It's all
exactly.
about that PlayStation, y'all.
Exactly. Like, this is a side note, but like people out there that has Androids and stuff like that.
Oh, y'all need real
We,
prayer.
we need to really pray for them, okay? We're about to pray for them right now, and we're going to fast and everything. Say they need to get these iPhones, okay?
I mean, you gotta send a whole email just to send a document and
Exactly,
all
man.
of this
man.
crap. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all just
But we're not gonna
pretend.
promote Apple. But
We're not going to do. We're not get. It's not paid promotion, so we can't go any further. But we need more apostolic believers, you know. So,
devout.
yep. But did you have another question?
I have some questions, but you can go ahead.
Okay. Let me just go through a list of questions. See. Okay. So, my next question is, have you witnessed any miracles after someone had prayed, or what are those miracles if you have witnessed anybody that, you know, have prayed and a miracle has happened?
Oh, me? Pray for. Hold on, come back to me. Hold on, y'all. Y'all can go ahead.
Yeah, I had this happened. I mean, a few times. I'm not gonna say specifically, but I've definitely witnessed it. You know how you might go through seasons where you have certain characteristics or feelings or whatever the case may be that's not aligned with the way you should be, and I witnessed those things fall off, basically. You know,
Okay. Okay.
that's a miracle in itself, man.
Yeah, and I would say I'm a living miracle because a lot of people have heard it right now. But I was not even supposed to be born. Like, I was supposed to be aborted and everything like that. And my parents prayed. The late Apostle Kennedy prayed over my mother as she was pregnant. And basically, they heard heartbeat right before they was about to go to have the abortion because they thought I was dead. So, you know, I'm a living miracle that I'm born. I'm here on this podcast today. And it's been just other miracles I've seen it, God work in other people's lives where they've prayed for things and people have prophesied over them and they fasted for things and God literally turned it around. Like, it's been people that was like, they didn't have a home. They was homeless. They didn't have any money. And they prayed and they started giving their life to Christ. And it didn't happen like some people, it did happen quick. Other people I've witnessed, it happened over a series of years. But if you saw where they came from, where they didn't have anything, and you see where they are now, they not only have money, but they have God. They have value. So they've come to it from a point where they didn't have anything. When I say anything, they didn't have Christ. They didn't have no home. They have nothing. Now they're to the point where they have God, for one, and then they're doing better in life because they've given their life to Christ. Like, I saw someone on TikTok the other day, and he was telling his story about how he came to Christ. He had gotten in a car accident, and in like the same week, his car was totaled and everything like that. Then he got arrested, and years later, he got back together with he had a baby on the way. The baby came the week after. And he was not with his baby mama anymore. So he basically reconciled that relationship, and they got married. And she gave her life to Christ too. And like a couple months later, they fully came to Christ and everything like that. And now they're youth leaders at their church years later. And he has a good job. They're still married. child's grown up in in church and everything like that, and they're ministering to more people, and they use that that's a miracle. They used it to minister to more people on TikTok, and now I can use that reference because how he allowed God to use them. He didn't let people say, "Oh, you've been to jail, you've done all this type of stuff. Just go ahead, and that's the end of the story for you. That's all your life is valued at." But he actually changed his life, and God opened up doors because he went and made things right. He went and gave his life to Christ. So that's one story I could think of that I just saw like yesterday, a miracle.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us have been through that where it might not have been like a Paul experience where it was just like boom, everything is just wiped away at that moment. But over the course of years, even as I look back, I can see certain things that I used to love that I don't love anymore. Situations like that. And what you said reminds me of this other gospel artist that kind of had a similar ministry. He was like, getting in trouble and everything. His brother actually got killed, and he got saved, right? And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, but he basically had the opportunity to get revenge on his brother. Oh yeah, he did. He went to prison, but after that, right?
He didn't seek revenge though. He didn't try.
Talking to the mic.
He didn't try to kill. He didn't do it. He didn't act on it. Trying to kill them. He went to jail for another reason.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. I
was
you were
like,
saying.
but he didn't do it. I'm like, okay, maybe I got the story wrong, but yeah.
No. Yeah, you're right.
He had the chance to, but he didn't. Like, imagine somebody kill your sibling, and you got the chance to kill this dude, but you don't, for the simple fact of you're saved now, or you just want to obey Christ. But anyways, he got saved and everything, and then he ended up still going to jail for something old. God kind of revealed to him, like, look, you got to wipe your slate clean. Just turn yourself in or whatever. Go through that time. And then he was ministering in the jail.
Yeah.
And then he ended up getting kind of a slap on the wrist at the end. You know what I'm saying? And now he's out, like you said, family saved, wife saved, ministering, touring, and all type of things. So
that's good. My bad. I didn't mean. I didn't know what you.
You good.
I misunderstood. But
you right.
I was gonna say, well, I've seen a lot of people healed, and on one occasion, I was actually at the hospital myself, and I saw somebody have a seizure. And when I saw them having a seizure, I said, oh my goodness, because it looked really bad. And I saw the nurses come to try to, help them. But I just went and started praying, right? And then within the next few minutes, but I had huge faith that it was just going to be done. So when I looked and I saw through the door, the person was standing up, they were fine. And it was so quick, you know what I mean? So I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah, and it's another story I want to say about a miracle that has taken place. And I know this person very near and dear to my grandmother, and she was suffering from cancer, and the doctors had told her that she would not see any of her grandchildren or anything like that. And she's still alive to this day, and she's cancer free.
Praise God, y'all. Did y'all hear that?
That was many years before I was born. Before all this, she was like, "You're not gonna be able to see your grandchildren because it's gotten real bad." And they prayed and everything. You know them and everything like that. They prayed, fasted, and God worked it out as many times, even when we was kids, where certain things just couldn't be because you had to get treatment and everything like that. But God turned it around, and she's doing very well.
Yeah, she's doing amazing.
And she's healthy, everything, and that's a blessing. That's a miracle. And we just can't overlook the miracles that God's let us see, because we can use those testimonies in times like this to spread awareness and to spread testimony to other people, to encourage other people. So yeah,
that's so good. Oh man,
it's a great testimony.
I'm so glad you said that, man.
Yeah,
because that's something that we know, but we don't talk about it a whole lot.
We just don't talk about it a lot. But it's everybody like. You know how you get those people that are like, oh, everybody has a story. Let's hear everybody's story. But everybody has a story.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you don't know who you can minister to if you don't actually tell the story. Like, God lets you go through some things. He lets you experience some things, not just so you can just
Keep it to yourself.
keep it to yourself,
All right,
but
because
so
you
you can tell it.
you pressing on me now because I didn't want to say nothing, but and I didn't know that, man. I really didn't know that,
Yeah.
but praise God. But the same thing with me, like I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I like when I had real bad scoliosis, if y'all familiar, but mine was so bad that like I had to get reconstructive surgery basically to correct it. So imagine like being like a 13-year-old in school, you know, the whole situation. You know how people, little kids, is like, oh, why, you know, asking you questions and all this stuff. But I ended up getting the surgery and everything and going through that. A lot happened during that little portion of my life that almost kind of molded me to how I am and how I treat people. You know what I'm saying? Because you go through certain situations and how can I put it? Like sometimes, you know, teaches you how to not treat people or whatever the case may be. So upon going through that, it was a successful surgery or whatever, and it almost kind of like humbled me in a way. You know what I mean? You go
Yeah.
through certain things, and it's like you think back, like, wow, God could have. Imagine if my parents weren't able to get that surgery for me. You see what I'm saying? I could have been like really in a critical situation right now.
Yeah.
So
I know somebody. I'm not gonna put them out here like on blast, and I think that they don't want me to tell it. But somebody I know, one a good friend of mine, had that procedure done around the same age and everything. They told me the whole story, and it aligns like with like how it shaped them to be. It aligns with what you just said and everything like that. And the thing about it, people don't tell their story. People don't tell what they've been through and what type of situations that they've had to endure. But if you say it, you don't understand how many people can relate with you.
Blessed by it.
They can relate. You don't have to tell all the ins and outs. You don't have to say, like, you know, I was going through here and then I did this and this is how I did it. This is the time I did it. I was out here doing the priest and like the priest told me not to do this, but I did it anyway. And I was like, you don't have to be doing all this type of stuff. But at least, like, you know, tell the stuff that you feel like would be seen in a good light and everything like that, because you don't know how you can minister to people or how people can relate.
That's cool that you said that, and that's a great testimony too, Darren. What was I gonna say? Oh, so after I graduated college, right, towards the end, I had a difficult go at it, and I told y'all before. So, but I was able to come through it, and it was only by the grace of God, like literally. So I shared that with somebody as I was buying like my shoes for like the heels that I was getting from my graduation. I was in the store, and I think it was the cashier. Me and her was talking, and her daughter was going through a difficult time at the same school that I went to, and I was just like encouraging her, you know, to tell her like, you know, God will make a way for you. Just tell her to be diligent, you know, and to ask God for help. So I feel like exactly what you said is so true. You know, like share your testimony. You don't have to get on YouTube or IG Live and be like, hey world, let me tell you, like you don't have to be like on a stage. Typically, in my experience, the way that I share my testimonies are on one-on-one basis. And you just feel like, okay, now is the time to do it. Or even like how Darren just did. He was like, I wasn't going to do this.
because
But
I was like, should I say it? And then you was like, it could help someone.
Yeah.
Dang, I
Because
gotta
the
say
thing
it.
about it is, like, you just don't know. You just don't know. Because sometimes you got to be the one to step out, like altar call. If one person, like, it's many times nobody will come up to altar call if one person don't come. But if one person come up, then two, then three, then four. You know what I mean? So that's one thing about it. Like, you just don't know.
Has that happened to y'all? Like you felt the urge to get up
Yeah.
there?
I mean, I've seen it to where, like, I'd step out. Like, okay, everybody might have already been up here. I'm battling within, like, I'll just pray back here. Then I say, forget it, I'll go up. And then I'll see, like, somebody in the corner of my eye get up. As I, you know what I'm saying?
Just because you got
Yeah,
it,
they
you know
like,
what I'm
they
saying?
might have been struggling inside too. But
'Cause-
I'm sorry, before
No,
we
you
go
go.
on, I was gonna say about the whole testimony thing, and I'm this type, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but sometimes I don't like mention what I've been through because it's always somebody else that had way worse. So I feel like how dare I complain? You know what I'm
No,
saying?
but it's not a complaint though.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, and you got to have good situational awareness when telling your testimonies, because sometimes it's not the time and place or person to tell your testimony. Because let's say that you went through a struggle. Let's say that I'm going to say a hypothetical situation. Let's say that I struggled with an addiction of drinking too much juice, and someone is enjoying drinking a whole bunch of juice, and they're not to the point where they really want to get better, but you still want to minister to them because you're like, you don't want to drink so much juice that you get diabetes. I had diabetes because I drank too much juice, so this is what I come through. So some people will look at your testimony because it was not the right time to tell them, and they'd be like, oh, you made it out, so I'm just going to go ahead and drink as much juice to get diabetes, and then maybe God would deliver me. But you might not have that story. Like that person that you're ministering to, they might get diabetes real bad and might not make it out, or that might not be the story for them. So you got to, tell them in a way where it's like you're not telling your full story, but tell them in a way, have good situational awareness, have good awareness of where their mind is, because some people aren't ready to just hear it.
You can tell when they are, when they aren't.
Yeah, like some people are just not ready to be completely ministered to, because the enemy has a stronghold on them, and you can't judge them and be like, oh, well, because they want to do it, because we all have sinned and fallen short of falling short. So you got to know when to back off, when to go for it, because sometimes they be to the point where it's like they come to you when you want to come out of something. You go for help. When your sibling is picking on you or something like that, you go to your mom for help because you don't want them to pick on you.
Or I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but if you are picking on your younger sibling with your older sibling, you'll kind of not really say anything, even though let's say that you kind of like your younger sibling, but you kind of enjoy picking on them too. But you're not really gonna say anything. But if your mom's around, then you don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
So you're gonna say something. So you got to know the seasons in people's lives when they actually want to really commit to, like, I'm ready to come out of this. And when you have to minister to them to give them the little hints of, hey, I kind of went through something like this too. I'm not sure what's going on. I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
I kind of drank too much juice. I don't know what's going on, but I want you to come out of this
I've been
juice.
there before,
Yeah.
but you don't gotta say,
Yeah, you don't have to say, I can tell you a whole story about I drank too much apple juice.
This
and
one
it
time at
landed me over
band
here.
camp.
Yeah, so I mean, you can just use it in type of like situations like that. You have to have good situation awareness, because even with some people, you scare them away. If they think that you know too much about them, you're like, oh no, they're going right down my alley. I don't know how they know about my situation. But sometimes you have spiritual discernment, but you got to know how to attack the situation. Because if you have, like, some people have prophetic gifts and they can look and they'll be like, I can tell they're going through this struggle now, or you can, sometimes it's obvious, you can see it on them, or you can smell it or whatever, and you'd be like, I can tell they're going through this. Instead of just going up to them, like if you go up to a deer and you're hunting, you got a big old shotgun in your hand, the deer knows what's up, he's gonna run off. But you gotta know when it's the right time. You know what I mean? So the same thing with being fishers of men. You when you're fishing, you can't just go at the fish and put your hand down in there and try to get a spike and kill up all the fish. But you have to wait for the seasons. You gotta wait for the seasons, and that's how God wants us to do. That's why God used that reference. So
Seeds and stuff.
exactly.
But another thing that came to mind with these whole like just testimonies and deliverance and stuff is like when Paul said he had the thorn in his flesh. It just reminds me of that. Like sometimes we go through certain things and God will deliver us, but then later on in life, if your flesh ever feel like it wants to get prideful or whatever, the spirit will like remind you. You know what I'm saying? Like, calm down. Look what I brought you from. How dare you judge this person? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Situations like that.
Well, I had a question.
Well, I'll just close out on this topic real quick before she gets her next question in. But yeah, like, with that, you just got to know how to go about the situations and everything like that. You know what I mean? And it's difficult at times because sometimes you want to help people so bad. You want to help people come out of it, come back, but sometimes you got to let God do it. And God will work, like they say, God works in mysterious ways. Sometimes you're to come out of whatever you're going through. You're not going to get it from the bishop. You're not going to get it from the missionary. You might get it from somebody in the store. You be like, wow, that random person, they know what I'm going through, and that's how they minister to me. You know, you go into a shoe store not thinking that somebody's gonna be like, I have a strong feeling that you need to come out of this. I don't know what told me to tell you this, but it's something that told me you need to come out of this. And then that's what ministers to you. I mean, because that has happened to many people in the past where it's like they don't come to church for those reasons. It's like they don't come to church, they don't want accountability. But then they randomly hit them they'll be at a Subway. And they'll be like, I feel that you need to pray some more or whatever, you know? So, yep.
That's true. I was going to say, whenever y'all have those, or even anybody, any of us, when we have the unction of the Holy Spirit kind of directing us to say or do something, it's best to just do it. You know, like sometimes I know we ignore it, but if we don't ignore it, you know, he will use us. Or if we do ignore it, he'll just use somebody else. But I was going to ask, and this is kind of, yeah, I'll just ask it. What's the most rewarding part about serving God? Like for you, what's most rewarding? And if you want, you can say, what's the most rewarding part of praying to God or having that connection with him?
The most rewarding part is making God happy, because you want to feel like, you know, when you make God happy, the communication will be better and everything like that too. So you want to make him smile. If you smile in your life, things will go well for you and everything like that. So the most rewarding part is making him happy and having a greater connection. Having a greater connection, because you always want to make sure that you hear the voice of God, and you know his intentions, you know his will for you, and that's how I think that's the most rewarding part.
Yeah, for me, another one is that as well, but the most rewarding part I would say is like representing him well. So when you out and about and people just see certain things you might not get involved with, like you might say, nah, I'm good on that. And they know like, oh, this guy go to church or whatever the case is. And it just feels good that people would know like, okay, he's not going to do this. So I won't even invite him. You know, like it might at first kind of, well, some people you might feel left out, but it's rewarding, man. It's like, you know, you represent him well, and like you said, in return, he's smiling on you for that.
I like what both of y'all said. I can relate to both of those. I would say being able to have like the reconciliation, like being able to have a relationship with him. You know what I mean? Because it's just rewarding, because to me, I feel like I don't deserve, you know what I mean, to be reconciled sometimes, and I don't deserve, you know what I mean, to have a relationship with God, the God of the world, you know what I mean, or him talking to me and guiding me. So just being able to talk to him and hearing him speak back, or hearing or seeing something about the word that speaks and resonates. Yeah, so just that relationship.
Yeah,
you know?
I get that. As far as like, that's like one of my biggest battles on and off is like thinking that you don't deserve it. Well, none of us do deserve it, to be honest, but
Yeah.
you know, it's not about that. He's merciful and he do love us. We just have to remember that. And like, even with being a representation of him, it's like certain things, I'm not gonna say like I'm out here wilding, but like you said, God might have told you to do something, and you know, and that person might not know, but you know in your heart you were supposed to encourage that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you might not do it.
Right.
So in that moment, you might have that feeling. You might have that feeling of not deserving. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
yo.
you're good. You're good.
We had a word from our sponsors.
Yeah, but no, I get
I
what
hope-
you're. I
I
get
hope
what
y'all
you're
heard
saying.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we get what you're saying. Like, you just don't feel like you deserve it, but you don't have to do anything to deserve it. Like, he just gives it, and it feels good to know, like, that we have a God that we can go to.
Yeah, and long story short, don't take advantage of it, but
Yeah.
when you do slip, just get back up and keep moving. Don't sit and just stick to it. Like, sit in your
Sit in your
sit
sin.
in it, you know,
They said a righteous man falls like 7 times.
gets back up.
Yeah, so
Exactly. But that was some good topics, good things, good questions, and great miracles that we had talked about. So, with that being said, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Impact Podcast. We got another episode next week for y'all. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Make sure that you like, tag, share, subscribe, and share this with a friend via text or any way that you can get this over to them. Sit next to a friend while watching this podcast. Go make it a time. Go to Starbucks and watch this podcast. And get a friend group together and you watch Impact Podcast. And you can follow Rockstone Church on any platform. If you have a prayer request, you can drop it in the comments or send it to rockstonechurch@outlook.com. rockstonechurch@outlook.com. And you can follow me on Instagram at One Christian Kennedy. I believe his is Nariah Official.
Official.
Period. Nariah. Official period. Nariah. And you _Mani.
Yes.
Mani.
_Mani.
You can spell that out for everybody.
M_MAHNI.
Yes, and you can follow the church on YouTube at Rockstone Church. Simple as that. On Facebook, Rockstone Church. All platforms, Rockstone Church. We thank you. Thank you for tuning in for Impact Podcast again. We'll have another episode. If you have any suggestions, just drop them in the comment section down below. We're going to get out of here. Y'all have a good day. Y'all have a good night.